Traditional web search, it's changing forever. Seriously, right in front of us. Here's exactly how AI is answering your questions without ever sending you to a single website. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive, monumental shift in how we all access information. Think about it. For decades, the process has been exactly the same, right? You type a query, you get a list of blue links, you click a website, and hopefully you find your answer. But that fundamental infrastructure of the web, it's literally breaking apart, and it's being replaced by something way more autonomous. To really wrap your head around the sheer scale of this disruption, you just need to look at one staggering number: 90%. When an AI overview or an answered engine pops up at the top of your search results, traditional click-throughs to actual websites plummet by around 90%. Think about what that means. 9 times out of 10, your journey just ends right there on the search page. The AI hands you the answer, and the website that originally hosted that information, it gets absolutely zero traffic. Okay, let's dive into this. Just look at these click-through rates from Authoritas over in the UK. On the left side, you've got your baseline, the average clicks for a standard search. But as you look toward the right, at the search pages that actually have those AI overviews present, the drop is just catastrophic for website owners. We're talking desktop click-throughs declining by 89% and mobile by 87%. This data just completely validates what we're seeing. You and I are highly satisfied getting our answers directly synthesized by AI, so we're just bypassing those traditional website links completely.
So, this brings us to the end of traditional search as we know it, and the very real erosion of Google's long-standing dominance. Let's look at the raw market dynamics driving this, because it absolutely changes how you find information every single day. ChatGPT has just exploded. It's sitting at 755 million monthly users, basically capturing about 60% of the entire AI search market. To put that into perspective, the word ChatGPT itself has become one of the top search terms on Google, pulling in 618 million monthly queries. That's rivaling searches for Facebook. Meanwhile, Perplexity is surging too, hitting 780 million queries with a 20% month-over-month growth, mostly because people just love its citation-rich answers. On the flip side, we're seeing the first really significant dip for Google in decades. Their global search traffic actually fell by around 7.9% year over year. The ground is quite literally shifting beneath these tech giants. And this brilliantly illustrates how we're witnessing a complete change in user behavior. Think about traditional search. It's super transactional. You submit one single query, you scroll, you click. But AI search, it's conversational. The data actually shows that ChatGPT users average 5.6 conversational turns per session. So people aren't just searching anymore. We're having these high-intent, back-and-forth conversations with an answer engine, where we're finding our questions, digging deeper, and demanding these highly specific synthesized answers that a simple blue link just can't give us. But here's where it gets kinda wild. There's a really deep irony to this whole AI revolution. If you look at this similar web data, AI referral traffic is overwhelmingly funneling right back to big tech domains, led primarily by Google.com. You might be wondering why. Well, because despite the incredible rise of these AI answer engines, they don't actually have their own comprehensive map of the entire internet yet. They still heavily rely on scraping Google's index to source their real-time information. So, they're building the future of search, sure, but they're doing it by standing directly on the shoulders of the very giant they're trying to replace. This reliance on Google's index was actually front and center during some recent massive legal battles. In 2 separate antitrust cases, Google was officially ruled monopoly in both search and ad tech. As impartial observers here, it's fascinating to look at the proposed remedies to see how this market might shift. One major proposed remediation from the trial would grant what they call qualified competitors, meaning these emerging AI companies, a one-time index dump of Google's search data. And crucially, this dump would not include any of Google's secret ranking signals. Now, whether that data dump will actually allow competitors to build a search system on par with what Google has perfected over decades, well, that remains a massive question for the whole industry.
Which takes us right into our next big shift: how web browsers themselves are becoming AI battlegrounds, effectively turning into our new operating systems.
See, these assistants, they're no longer just passive chat boxes waiting for your prompt. They're actually navigating the web on our behalf. On the left here, you can see an AI visiting a storefront, gathering sticker options, and literally reading the page for you. Then on the right, a native browser assistant is instantly summarizing a full hour-long NASA documentary on YouTube, and it does this without the user ever having to scrub through the video themselves. The AI is doing all the digital legwork for us. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it shows just how massive the scale of investment into this idea really is. AI isn't just answering questions anymore, it's executing tasks right inside your browser. OpenAI's ChatGPT now spins up virtual browsers behind the scenes to execute multi-step tasks that you control. Perplexity decided to bypass the middleman entirely by building their own Chrome-based browser, Comet, which has an AI assistant built right into the sidebar. Google and Anthropic, they're releasing tools that let their AIs operate directly inside your Chrome browser. Even big enterprise players are noticing, with Atlassian recently acquiring the browser company. Basically, the browser is being completely reframed. It's no longer just a simple viewing window, it's becoming an intelligent operating system for the internet. And that brings us to the rise of agentic AI, where we move from finding information to actively doing work. We really need to clearly define what this is, because it's a massive leap forward. Think about standard generative AI, the kind you probably use to write an email or summarize a long article. That mostly relies on pattern matching. Agentic AI is totally different. It is an autonomous system. It can plan, it can apply logic and reasoning, it sets its own sub-goals, and it can execute really complex workflows over a period of time with very limited human intervention. In short, it doesn't just answer, it acts. So the crucial point here is that these agents act as proactive assistants. If you give an agentic AI a broad objective, it's going to go out there and read and interpret both public and internal data on its own. It can map out these incredibly complex biological or structural relationships that span across thousands of documents, find hidden connections, and, get this, actually generate novel, explainable hypotheses. This is fundamentally changing how deep analysis and professional research are conducted across the globe. Let's zoom in a bit and look at how this is revolutionizing high-stakes fields like science and medicine. We are seeing an absolutely incredible leap in capabilities right now. Just looking at the benchmark scores of leading AI systems over the last couple of years, their performance on graduate-level scientific reasoning and complex math isn't just slowly creeping up, it is rocketing. Reasoning models like OpenAI's experimental models and Google's Gemini DeepThink are now hitting expert level and sometimes even gold medal human equivalent performance in structured scientific testing. They're actually solving problems that require step-by-step logical verification, not just blindly guessing the next word in a sentence. Let's move to and see how this builds into real-world scientific workflows, like drug discovery. Historically, this stuff takes years, right? Now, agentic AI handles step 1, target identification, where it analyzes omics data, which is basically a cell's complete biological makeup, to find non-obvious druggable targets. Then, step 2, molecular docking, where the AI predicts protein-ligand interactions. That's essentially figuring out how a drug binds to a target, and it learns from massive molecular databases way faster than traditional simulations ever could. Finally, step 3, lead optimization, where reinforcement learning models iteratively refine the chemical properties to ensure safety and bioavailability. Platforms out there like Causally are enabling organizations to move way beyond simple keyword searches and dive into true scientific reasoning. Honestly, the impact here cannot be overstated. Every single day, life sciences teams generate way more data and knowledge than any human could possibly keep up with. Agentic AI replaces those older, generic tools that mistakenly treat complex science like it's just a basic web search. Instead, it surfaces insights buried deep in the data to accelerate discovery and drive drug repurposing. And it's already saving lives in the field. For example, OpenAI's AI Consult was deployed during primary care visits in Nairobi, Kenya, and clinicians reported that it substantially improved care quality while measurably reducing diagnostic and treatment errors. But, of course, we have to pivot and talk about the very real risks of AI reasoning and the serious safety implications. The International AI Safety Report of 2026 highlights a pretty critical vulnerability. They note, and I quote, "While such information is already accessible on the internet, general-purpose AI systems allow novices to access and contextualize relevant information faster than they could with internet searches alone. It really is that sheer speed of context delivery that makes these models a double-edged sword. Think about it. Information that might have taken a bad actor months to synthesize by digging through hundreds of obscure web pages is now handed to them perfectly contextualized in mere seconds." And it actually goes beyond just delivering raw facts. We're now seeing what experts call tacit knowledge transfer. This means AI models can provide the deep, hands-on practical expertise that usually requires years working at a laboratory bench to develop. In one benchmark study, OpenAI's Omicron 3 model outperformed 94% of domain experts in troubleshooting virology lab protocols. The AI isn't just telling you what a virus is, it's walking you through exactly how to troubleshoot the biological synthesis of one in real time. It's completely blurring the line between digital information and physical capability. So, to combat the risks of these models blindly providing harmful information or just hallucinating incorrect science, researchers are rushing toward a new solution, neurosymbolic AI. This is the next frontier. It combines the deep learning power of current generative AI with symbolic, rule-based logic. The whole goal is to build systems that actually possess human-like contextual understanding and traceable reasoning. This way, safety guardrails are hard-coded directly into the logic of the AI rather than researchers just hoping the model recognizes the pattern of a dangerous request.
This brings us to the future of discovery and asking ourselves, where does this all leave us? Well, the data shows we are fully embracing the shift. In recent surveys asking users about their primary motivations for using these new tools, productivity and efficiency absolutely dominated as the top category at 45%, followed closely by things like coding and deep research. AI is clearly no longer just an experimental toy for early adopters. It has cemented itself as an integral, everyday engine for human productivity, and it's completely replacing the traditional search behaviors we've all relied on for the past 20 years. Which brings us to a final thought to leave you with today. If the very infrastructure of the internet is shifting from retrieving links to synthesizing truth, we really have to ask ourselves, when AI can autonomously reason, execute multi-step research workflows, and act inside our browsers on our behalf, will we ever actually need to search for anything again? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.